Oh man. So what has my coach been up to? Oh yeah. He was out there frying the fish. Is that right? Was it the farm fresh fish? Was it the farm fresh meat that Megan was bragging about that she was so looking forward to? Was it some of the farm fresh meat that they packed their freezer out with? Some of that farm fresh goodness that they are not giving away to the needy or to the community? Was it some of that? Oh no, it was the tilapia. They were frying up the tilapia from the grocery store. Is that right? Megan had done one of her grocery runs. Really? She brought back some tilapia. Is that right? Okay. What else did she bring back? She brought back some shrimp as well. Is that right? Okay. All right. Well, I know the other day my coach Tim was talking about eating a steak and potatoes and dropping crumbs all in his lap. Okay. But I guess he's talking now. He's kind of promoted himself. They kind of graduated to having the steak and shrimp, or the shrimp and lobster. Okay. Okay. But so he's out there frying up the tilapia. Is that right? Okay. Well, it's good to see him doing some work. Really. You said all he's got to do is dip it in the batter and then drop it in the oil. That's not much work. Oh, no. And put it in his belly. Oh, not much work involved there. Is that right? But he's out there frying up the fish while Megan and Grandma Lily are inside of the house cleaning the brim. They're inside cleaning the brim. Is that right? Doing the hard work, doing the manual labor. Is that right? Moments after or days after Megan has had her hernia surgery, the long-awaited hernia surgery. She's in the house trying to stay off her feet. Okay. She's sitting on the couch cleaning up the brim. Is that right? Is she sitting on her bed cleaning up the brim? Is that right? One way or the other, her and Grandma Lily are in the house cleaning up the brim while Tim is outside frying up the fish. And of course, taste testing it every step along the way. Is that right? Okay. And what else was he up to? He was outside trying to figure out how in the world he's going to babysit these 3 boys. Did he come up with a great idea to get some baseball mitts and some baseballs and a bat? Did he come up with that idea? Really? And did he say that the batting process is not going so well? It's not going well. Is that right? Should that be a surprise to him? Considering that those boys have been playing with secondhand athletic gear for years, at least for months upon months, seasons upon seasons. They've been playing with raggedy athletic equipment. So it's no wonder that they don't know how to swing a bat. Is that right? Okay, my coach has already predetermined that those boys are going to have supposedly 5 trades. Oh, yeah? He determined that their education ends at the age of 16 for Timothy Jr., and which means that Titus would only be 14 and Noah would only be 12 and little Benjamin would only be, around 8 or 9? Is that right? No, little Benjamin would be, around, I don't know, 7 or 8. We'll say little Benjamin would be around 7 or 8. And then the education is getting shut off for all the boys. Is that right? Okay. So they're going to get a subpar education. They've all already had subpar recreation in their lives. They've had subpar athletic involvement, athletic exposure up until this point. And so he's surprised that the batting is not going so well, that those boys don't know how to swing a bat. They know how to execute a script, though. Is that right? They know how to repeat a chant 100% of the effort, 100% of the time. Outlaw, what his name is, outlaw. They know how to do all that stuff. Is that right? But they don't know how to swing a bat. They have no athleticism. Is that right? Okay, but he went out and he got baseball mitts and baseballs for the boys because he wasn't sure how in the world he was going to babysit those boys. Is that right? He thought that maybe the boys could keep themselves company. They could keep themselves company while he carried on with his foolish filming processes. Is that right? But then he realized that they did need at least a low level of attention. Is that right? He did need to give them some type of activity to occupy themselves with. And so he went with the baseball mitts. Is that right? Okay. And now he feels like, okay, now I can have possibly some success with this babysitting thing. Is that right? Okay. So now when is Grandma Lily going to inform him? When is Megan going to inform him that it's not really babysitting? When it's your own kids, okay? When it's your own boys and you're the supposed man of the house. When are they going to remind him that it's not considered to be babysitting? It's considered to be parenting or fathering. Okay, all right. Are they going to tell him, or are they just going to let him carry on? Okay, they're going to just let him carry on. Okay. Well, all right. What else? What else has he been up to? Anything else? Oh, he's working out with his mower. He's going to get his mower going. Is that right? Okay. All right. Anything else? Has he been up to anything else? Anything? Okay. Well, all right. Before I get to my reaction to the recent IAG Farms video, where Tim talks about the fact that he should have bought a zero turn years ago. He should have bought the zero turn years ago. If only his donors had cooperated better. Okay. If only they had donated more than thousands of dollars. Okay. If they had donated somewhere more in the area of $9,000. Okay. Then he could have bought that zero turn years earlier. Okay. But before I get to my reaction to that video, I have to recognize you guys that have been active in the comments. Keep that commentary flowing. Keep that dialogue going both ways. Of course, I have to recognize you heavy Tim followers. I hear what you guys have been saying in the comments. I see what you guys have been saying. You guys have been saying, Captain, Captain. Some captain you are. I'm like, okay. All right, I'm all ears. I'm all ears. Tell me about the captain that I am. I'm all ears. And you guys are saying, Captain, get to the point, Captain. I'm like, okay, all right. They're like, hey, stop repeating yourself, Captain. Just because our Pastor Tim repeats himself on the regular, okay? Just because he repeats these ludicrous visions, these supposed missions from God, just because he's repeated them month after month, year after year, okay? Captain, that does not give you the right to repeat yourself. And I'm like, okay, I'm just watching the videos, okay? I'm reacting to the videos, okay? And so if my coach has a tendency to repeat himself, if he has a tendency to recycle old content, regurgitate old topics, old content for the sake of trying to achieve and accumulate new donations and new views, new clicks, and of course, new subscribers. Okay, but if he's regurgitating the same commentary, then of course, I'm reacting to the same commentary. Okay, and so if it sounds like I'm repeating myself, it's simply because my coach, he's prone, he has a habit, he has a tendency, a propensity to repeat himself, okay? But I hear you guys. You guys are talking about, well, coach, be careful. No, you guys are saying, Captain, be careful, okay? Because if you're crucial, if you're critical of our pastor, okay? If you're trying to bury this gentleman, I'm like, I'm not trying to bury anybody. He buries himself. But you guys are like, well, if you dig a ditch for our Pastor Tim, make sure that you dig 2 ditches. And I'm like, okay, all right. Listen, he digs his own ditches, okay? He buries himself. He contradicts himself. He's the one that makes up stories. He's the one that makes up these tall tales, and then he contradicts himself. He contradicts himself later, okay? It may be days later, weeks later, sometimes years later, but unfortunately, it's even moments later where he contradicts himself. Okay, and so as such, if he's contradicting himself, he's truly burying himself. He's burying himself. Whether he cares about it or not, he's doing it to himself. Okay, so don't put that on me. All right, do not put that on me. You guys be wilding. You guys be wilding in the comments. Okay, but as long as you guys are wilding, I'm gonna keep on digressing. Welcome back to the end game. Welcome back. Where today I'm gonna provide my reaction to the recent IAG Farms video where Tim talks about the fact that he should have bought that zero turn years earlier. If only the donors had cooperated, okay? He would have bought that zero turn years earlier. But I'm going to provide my reaction to that video here. Early in the video, my coach Tim, he confuses the zero turn with his bad boy tractor. He's like, well, it doesn't matter. We're just talking about toys at this point. Okay, but he confuses it. I guess he catches it in the editing room. But he's talking about, well, how they've been waiting for 2 or 3 years, how we have been waiting 2 or 3 years to get the zero turn. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Coach, when you talk about the we, certainly considering your personal excitement level, okay, we don't see the excitement on Megan's face. We definitely don't see the excitement on the boys' face, okay? We see them carrying out a script when you had them chanting, outlaw, outlaw. Okay, coach, but you're the one that's gushing like a little baby, like a little child, okay? And so you're the one that's doting on the equipment. And so certainly when you talk about we in this situation, coach, we know that you're only referring to yourself, okay? And you're talking about the fact that you yourself have been waiting for years to get this zero turn mower, coach. But have fun with it, coach. Enjoy it. You have it now, coach. Might as well go ahead and enjoy it.
Going on, y'all? It's IAG Farms. It's all about God. And as y'all can see, I got the weed eater crunk up. And I actually did like a full day of mowing on the new bad boy tractor. What his name is? Outlaw. For real. One more time. Outlaw. For real. But if y'all might think I'm acting crazy, but y'all might have missed the video. If y'all did, I don't know where you're at. We've been waiting to get this zero turn for like 2 or 3 years now. And we finally got our zero turn, and we chose the bad boy Rebel zero turn. We were thinking about going.
Tim talks about how the salesman cut them a deal on purchasing this particular model of the zero turn because they were paying cash. And coach, we hear your verbiage, coach. Okay, we hear your selective conversation, coach. Your selective terminology, coach. And so we do understand that because you guys are putting down a significant down payment, okay, you guys received a certain amount of favor from the salesman. Clearly we can see that you're not trying to fully indicate to us that you bought it in cash outright, coach. If you bought it in cash outright, go ahead and use that wording, coach. Okay. Why are you like tippy-toeing around the fact that you guys put down a cash down payment and you're financing the rest or the remainder of the cost for that zero turn, coach? But you go on, you talk about the fact of how you ran the zero turn over some areas where you previously ran the tractor with the bush hog. And you talk about the fact that you didn't do such a good job last year, coach. And it's nice to hear you admit some of your faults and some of your failures, okay, coach? But you just ran that bad boy right over those areas that should have been bush hogged correctly this year, coach. And so don't get too excited with that. I know you're excited about the fact that you have that zero turn, but it's intended for a lawn, coach. We do understand that you have minimal actual lawn on your property, and the rest of it is wild, overgrown areas. And so we do understand in order for you to try to pretend like you're getting your money's worth out of the mower, you got to run it over all the grass and all the weeds that you see, okay? And so anything that you can't weed whack, we expect to see that you're going to be running that zero turn right over the top of it. Bumps, ruts, hills, valleys, and all. You're going to be running that zero turn right up through it, all right? Megan, you might want to look the other way when he's running that zero turn, Megan.
With the Maverick HD, but the salesman was too good. He sold us on the Rebel, and he actually lowered the price of the Rebel to make it fit inside of our budget because he already knew we were paying cash, and anytime you're paying cash, you can get a good deal, get a better deal, you know. So because we had cash, he dropped the price down, and it really was the same price as the Maverick HD, so we were able to bump it up, and I'm so glad that we did because when I was mowing the grass with this zero turn, it's like our grass was still kind of thick from last year because I didn't do a good mowing or a good bush hogging last year. And actually, I was mowing areas where I usually bush hog it, like the grass was like thick and it was like matted down because, you know, the frost had killed it and brought it down. And so this Rebel, this bad boy, plowed through it like it wasn't nothing, and I didn't have to go over it twice or anything. I just cut it on 3 inches and just plowed right through it, and it didn't have any problems with it. It didn't bog down anything. And I told Megan it's probably good that we got the Rebel with the more powerful motor and heavier deck and all those type of things. because I don't know if that Maverick would have handled that grass for real, because that was like bush hog level grass. And as y'all see, we got another bad boy over here. Got our bad boy tractor, 25 horsepower tractor that we're loving. That's amazing. And
Tim does a impromptu, unsolicited commercial for the bad boy product. Talk about not having a sponsor, coach. But he does a supposed unsolicited commercial for the bad boy. He walks us through all the features on the bad boy and the suspension on the seat and the handlebars and the fuel gauge, etc. He walks us through it. Okay, but we watching the commercial. Really, coach? I thought at the beginning you reminded us that this was supposedly the All About God channel. Okay, why are we doing commercials on equipment? Why are we doing commercials on lawnmowers? I hope that this entire video is not going to be content of you mowing grass, coach. Please tell me that's not going to be the case, because we're going to be hard pressed to find the little nuggets of scripture within this. We're going to be hard pressed to find a theme of it being about God and you cutting grass. Okay, so hopefully we're not going to have to be subject to 30 minutes of you mowing the lawn, coach. A couple of days ago on the Resurrection Ranch, we were forced to sit through, I don't know, maybe about 40 minutes of you trying unsuccessfully to jury rig Grandma Lily's riding mower, her Craftsman mower, coach. And we're like, okay, where's the godliness in that? When is that all about God? But we suffered through it. So we saw lawn repair content. Now we're going to be looking at zero turn content and grass mowing content, coach. Okay, coach. Where is the God in it, coach? All right. Now we remember how you spoke negatively about the legacy property that Grandma Lily was staying on. And you claimed that, well, if God wasn't in it, then you didn't want to be in it, coach. Well, when it comes to this IAG, coach, all right, if God ain't in the content, coach, okay, why should us viewers be in it, coach?
it lets you know that we love the bad boy brand because we have a tractor that we've had about 3-4 years, something like that. And then we chose a bad boy zero turn as well. And one thing about it is, I will say, is this seat. Like, this seat is like amazing. For real. It's like the seat on the zero turn, just look at it, it got armrest. It has your weight turn dial, so you turn this to whatever weight you are, and it customizes the suspension for the seat, so it makes it stiff. You don't want it too bouncy, but you don't want it too stiff either, and so it just makes it perfect. Has a little seat belt, and everything is just right there. Like I said, I love this thing. I've only did one good mowing in it, and it actually has the dual fuel tanks. So each of these fuel tanks are 6 gallons, and let's see how much gas I used.
As Tim looks at the gas gauge on the zero turn, he talks about using up only a small portion of the gas, although he claims that he's been mowing grass for 5 hours. Like, okay, coach, 5 hours of mowing grass, coach. Okay, before you indicated that it only took about 10 minutes, 5 minutes, actually you said about 5 minutes to mow the actual lawn around the mobile home. And now I know you've been taking the zero turn off road and doing some of the areas that should be bush hogged. But even still, coach, we're like, okay, well, for 5 hours, coach, you could mow all of your grass. You could drive down the road. You could mow Grandma Lily's grass. You could mow about 3 or 4 different other properties along the way, coach. Along the way to Grandma Lily's, you could cut their grass. On the way back from Grandma Lily's, you could cut all of your neighbor's grass. Okay. You could take it into Jackson and you could mow up a whole neighborhood, coach. And you still would not approach 5 hours of mowing grass, coach. So I'm like, okay, coach, easy with the exaggerations, coach. 5 hours of mowing, coach. Really, coach? Are we at that point? But okay, so now also while you're doing this unsolicited commercial for Bad Boy, you talked about, well, if there are any Bad Boy executives watching this video, and I'm like, okay, coach, if you're not sponsored, if you're truly not sponsored, coach, why would anybody beyond the IAG subscribers, why would anybody beyond the subscribers and the viewers, the regular viewers, the folks that are concerned with the godliness or it being supposedly all about God on your channel, why would anybody other than us folk be watching this content. Okay, unless there was some type of sponsorship embedded in that lease or purchase or what have you. But you talk about if the executives are watching, well, look at this nice comfy chair or seat on the zero turn where I can sit my big old comfortably with the armrests and all, so I can get truly comfortable up there. And compare that to the seat on the bad boy tractor. And he's like, well, the tractor is a $20,000 piece of equipment. Whereas the mower, the zero turn, is a $10,000 piece of equipment. You're like, okay, now for the $20,000 piece of equipment, he said, well, we should have a better seat on it. And of course, my coach does not understand that the work that you do on a tractor is vastly different from the work that you would do on a mower. Vastly different. Okay, and considering that you have an industrial grade, a heavy duty zero turn, the thought is that you would have some residential or commercial properties that you're mowing grass on. The thought is that a person that's sitting on that zero turn is actually doing 5 hours worth of mowing during the course of a day. Okay, not during the course of a morning. Okay, versus if you're operating that tractor, you're going to be doing short tasks here and there. The goal is not to be comfortable. Okay, the goal is to take care of the task and to move on, coach. But okay, coach, I guess you're just getting used to this. But oh, by the way, we did catch the fact that you said the tractor was 20 grand and that the zero turn was 10 grand. So that's about 30 grand. That's 30 grand 30 grand worth of expense on equipment, coach. Whereas you could not expend, I don't know, 5 or 6 grand to put new siding up on the mobile home, up on Emma/Hema. Okay, you couldn't afford 10 grand to put siding on Emma. Coach, how in the world can you supposedly expend 30 grand on this equipment, this useless equipment, coach? All right. It would be a failure, an utter failure in the finances, the financial decisions in or around that supposed farm if you actually did spend 30 grand cash to purchase that equipment outright. Okay. Now, if on the other hand, you put down a cash deposit for the tractor and you put down a cash deposit for the zero turn, okay, then it might be a little bit more reasonable that you only expended about 5 grand on the tractor, maybe another 3 to 5 on the zero turn just to get your financing going, or your just to get the finance process going. That would make more sense, coach. That would be more reasonable as far as your decision making goes, coach. But certainly you do not want your heavy Tim followers to believe that you would waste $30,000 on equipment, whereas Megan still doesn't even have a vehicle of her own. She doesn't have a vehicle of her own. The mobile home is not sided, coach. Oh my goodness, coach. Oh my goodness.
On my first mowing. So y'all can see about how much gas I used. I didn't even use a half a tank. And I mowed probably, 5 hours for real. But it has fuel tanks on both sides. So dual fuel tank, 6 gallons a piece. And it's so it has a 12-gallon fuel tank, might as well say. And I'm able to mow. I can probably mow 3-4 more times before I have to fill up. But this seat, so y'all look at the seat on the zero turn. So any bad boy executives, if you're watching this, look at that seat right there. And then let's come over here to this $20,000 tractor. Now that's a $10,000 zero turn, but this is a $20,000 tractor. Look at this seat. Look at this little thing. Come on, bad boy. For real. Give us a better seat on the tractor. No armrest. It's just plain. But they don't specialize in tractors. Like I said, they're just getting into the tractors. They just came out actually with a 50 horsepower bad boy.
Tim makes excuses for why he has not done the weed eating around the property, around the shed shack, around the sheep pens, I don't know, in months or a year. He hasn't done weed eating, maybe years, okay? It's gone neglected. And so I guess because he's low on content, he said, well, I can go out there and I can film all this weed eating. I'm like, okay, coach. Oh my goodness, has it come to this, coach? Is this what's being pushed on us, coach? Is this what we're left with, you weed eating as content, coach? The only thing good about this is actually seeing you do some work, coach. All right. Because certainly doing all that weed whacking, that is true work. Certainly the whack, the weed whacker. Certainly the wire, the string on the weed whacker, it does the actual whacking. But you, as the lawn person, you actually have to do some walking. So you got to do some walking. You got to swing those shoulders. You have to swing those arms, coach. And so here we do finally, after all these months, all these months, we finally get to see you do some actual work, coach. This is actual work. We've been waiting for this, coach. We've been waiting for it. Although the content is dry as all get out. It's dry as all get out, coach. Although it is desperate content on your part, coach. Some people would call it irresponsible YouTubing, coach. All right. Some people would call it clickbaiting, okay, because they see that IAG and they expect to see some type of inspiration relative to God, some type of divine inspiration relative to God. And so this will be clickbait. If they tune in and all they see is you weed whacking, weed whacking or weed eating around your property for 40 minutes. And then you top that off with them watching you run around, scurry around on that zero turn, coach. Okay, that will be clickbait. That will be false advertisement. Okay, coach. IAG does not stand for all about grass, coach. Tim admits that he's been looking for an excuse to use his zero turn. Okay, all right. And so we do understand that's why you did this extra weed whacking, so that you could run that zero turn right over the top of those weeds. We do understand. But he talks about, at least he admits it, he acknowledges it. But he talks about now that they have the barn, the quote unquote barn, finished off. But of course, he forgets that the video, okay, the footage is running. He forgets the footage is running. And so he's talking about now that the barn is finished off. And of course, coach, we still see the wrapping on the side of Ernest. We still see the wrapping, coach. We still see the crates, the milk crates that are holding up that piece of plywood that somehow constitutes a step or stairs into the barn, coach. We still see that. We still see the fact that the barn has not been painted, coach. We still see the fact that the barn is missing some trim and ultimately is missing a third or fourth wall, coach. All right. So, but you talk about now that the barn is finished. Now you're going to focus, you have some type of focus on removing some of the trash and some of the junk in or around the barn area, the barn site. And you talked about the fact that you guys have been accumulating trash. Well, it's just nice to hear you admit to it, coach. It's certainly nice to hear you admit to it. Of course, we've been witness to it. We've seen you accumulating all that trash, coach. We've seen it. But it's nice to hear you admit it. But you talk about, well, you've been accumulating it in piles, several piles. Okay, rather than having one or two large piles, you've been accumulating trash into piles. And you talk about the fact that, well, now the plan is we're going to have a dumpster. We're going to rent a dumpster and have them dump it, have them park the dumpster out there near the shed shack. And so then you guys will be able to toss the trash into the dumpster. Okay, coach, we'll believe it when we see it, coach. Of course, you took the opportunity to cast some shade, cast more shade at Cook and the boys for carrying out your directions, carrying out your desires with regard to getting rid of that trash previously, coach. But you brought it up yet again, coach. Okay, and if Cook is if he's tuning in to any of your videos, that's only going to stir the pot. Additionally, coach. All right. Some folks, most folks do not like to be snitched upon, okay? Some folks hate it more than others, coach, all right? So if I were you, coach, I would calm down with the snitching on Cook and the boys, especially when they're truly just carrying out your orders, coach.
Eating everything in this area and kind of go over this grass here. And there's some other spots as well. Like I said, it's kind of popping up. I'm just looking for a reason to get on the zero turn for real. But I got all this weed eater here. And we have the plan because we've been in the process ever since we've gotten the barn finished off to, clean up around here. And we've been doing pretty good. Like I said, getting rid of junk, hauling off junk. And we have this line of stuff back here that needs to be hauled off, and we have some pallets and just little odds and end type stuff, old toys from the boys. And our plan is we're gonna rent a dumpster and have them just drop it back here, and then all this junk that you see laying around, we're kind of piling it up, you know, in piles, so that when we get the dump, you know, dropped here, we can just take all these piles and just throw it in the dump and let them haul it off. Like I said, we tried getting somebody else to haul it off, like a company, but that didn't work out too well. Y'all remember that? They took the stuff and dumped it on the side of the road. Had the sheriff department showing up at our house. But I'm super blessed by this, like, because
Tim gives a quick lesson, a quick lesson in weed eating. Okay, for you, those of you guys that have never operated a weed eater or a weed whacker before, or a string trimmer. Okay, all right. He gives a lesson for you guys so you guys can attempt it yourselves. But now he talks about the fact that when you weed eat, you want to swing the weed eater in front of you and make sure that you're only walking on grass or weeds that you've already whacked, okay? Because there's snakes in the grass, and if you do it that way, then you'll either kill the snakes or you'll run the snakes off. He reminds you guys that it's snake season. And I'm like, okay, coach. All right, coach. We're going to leave that one alone, coach, because some would say that with regards to your activities and your motives every season, don't say it. Some folks would say that every season is snake season when it comes to IAG. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it.
and as y'all can see, there's a hose pipe here, and I wanted to get all that weed eaten because the boys, when they do water, I got an ant bed somewhere, but I've been knocking ants off me. But when the boys do the waters down here for the feeder hogs, they run a hose pipe down through here, and they bring the blue one from over there and connect it in right there. And so I wanted to make sure that this right here was nice and low for them, because we do have snakes out here. We're in Mississippi. It's snake season. But as long as you stay out of their way, they stay out of your way. And like I say, stay out of tall grass and things like that. And when you're weed eating, you know, you have to watch out for the snakes that are in the grass curled up. And so you have to keep the weed eater out in front of you and don't step in grass that haven't been weed eaten. As long as you do that, most of the time you'll kill the snakes as you're weed eating, and or they'll run off. So, but yeah, I got.
Tim talks about how he's going to pretend to make good use of that zero turn by running it everywhere he possibly can around that property. Ruts or no ruts, okay, ditches or no ditches, weeds or no weeds, bushes, hedges, it doesn't matter. He's going to try to run it wherever he possibly can for the sake of trying to demonstrate to you heavy Tim followers, and maybe a little bit to Megan, that the expense, that the purchase was justified, okay? But holy moly, he talks about now that he has weed whacked, he's reminded of the trash, the heaps of trash that are scattered throughout the property, that littered the property, heaps and piles of trash, coach. All right, coach, while you're trying to inspire folks, why don't you inspire yourself to pick up after yourself, coach? Okay? You talk about being motivated with this zero turn mower, coach. How about some motivation for you to clean up after yourself? Yes? Don't just drop items where you finish with them, coach.
That trail there clear for the boys. And a lot of this, now that I got it down, I'll be able to, because I can see it now. I don't want to bring the zero turn. I didn't want to bring Outlaw through here. And I didn't know what was in here. But now I kind of know it's nothing, you know, in here. So I can bring the zero turn through here and kind of keep this up. And over here, I can bring the zero turn through here as well. Like I said, I didn't really know if it was anything right in there or not. But future reference, like I said, I need to clear all this stuff out here. And we got some stuff around that tree there. Like I said, that'll go in the dump when we bring the dump here. But yeah, so I should be able to mow all of that with the zero turn as well. And before this year, I don't know if it was just winter time and the summertime is gonna dry everything up. But like I say, those ruts that I made with the tractor aren't really drying up over here. So I'm not really able to get in here with the.
Tim talks about he went into full-time ministry. Okay, with a congregation of about 10 to 12 people, including Megan and the boys, that would not be very profitable. Okay, that means that you weren't bringing in much of anything into the household, which is why you guys were dependent upon Megan's salary. But you said, well, after you went into full-time ministry, then you went into full-time farming. which of course we know absolutely wasn't bringing in any income. Okay, when you consider the expense associated with the seeds or with the fertilizer, that wasn't bringing in any income whatsoever. And you talk about how when you guys moved down to IAG, you went into full-time farming again. And we're like, okay, coach, from what we've watched, coach, you guys are just getting around to getting back to supposed farming. Okay, it won't be full-time farming. Okay, if anything, it might be half-time gardening. Okay, if the Heavy Tim followers are lucky, they may see some full-time gardening. Okay, but if it's not profitable, you're not putting all of your time into it. We already know that. But you talk about, well, when you guys moved down there, you went into full-time farming and full-time YouTubing. And we're like, okay, coach, make sure that you listen to what you say, coach, because it would be impossible for you to be a full-time farmer and a full-time YouTuber. Forget about the fact that you've acknowledged and we've witnessed, okay, that you have not done any farming, okay, for years. But let's just say for fantasy's sake, that you were a full-time farmer. If, in fact, you someday became a full-time farmer, that means that you would not be able to be a full-time YouTuber. Okay, coach? But it sounds good. Sounds a little bit crazy, a little bit loony, but okay, coach. But you also talked about how before you went full-time, AKA no time, AKA full-time YouTuber, before you did all those and changed all those seasons, you were in the business. You were in some type of lawn service, bush hogging business with your dad. And of course, we do know, us longtime viewers, we know that it was your dad's business. Okay. Your dad offered you employment when you were fresh out of prison. Okay. And so he put you to work and let you do some, what he thought was an honest day's work. For a while until ultimately you quit it. He said, oh, I'm not long for this actual work. I'm not long for this manual labor. I'm not long for it. And so you quit at the first opportunity. Okay. And then I guess you say you formed your own bush hogging business. You had some clients and then of course you quit that too. All right, coach. You have a legacy of quitting, coach. You have a legacy of incompletion, coach. Okay. Okay. And so now while you're wandering down memory lane, coach, be sure to include the fact that everything that you've started, you eventually terminated. Okay. Some of them prematurely, coach, and some of them after they ultimately failed, coach. All right, coach, give them the true story, coach. All right. If you're going to wander down memory lane, coach, and try to use your past steps, your past missteps, your past successes in order to define your current narrative. Okay, coach, make sure you give them all the details. Okay, coach. They need it all.
And weed eat all of it. Y'all may be thinking, you about to weed eat all that? It's like, yep, for real. Actually, when I was, before I went in full-time ministry, I've said this before I went in full-time ministry, because I was in full-time ministry before we started full-time farming. And then we came down here and I went into full-time farming and doing YouTube videos and everything. But before both of those, I was actually, I did tractor work for a living. And my dad and we had a business to where we were bush hog, and I ended up having to weed eat a lot of spots like this, big spots where the tractor couldn't get into, or it might have been a little bit wet and we didn't want to track it up with the tractor. And so especially like around people's septic tanks and things like
Tim walks you Heavy Tim followers, you woeful Tim worshipers, through some goofy, foolish real estate logic. Okay. I guess that's with his newly formed IAG Realty. Okay. Oh my goodness. But he walks you through some foolish real estate logic as far as if you buy a $20,000 mobile home, it depreciates, of course. And so now his mobile home might only be worth $12,000 or $15,000 tops by itself. But he talks about if you get some dirt and you put it on some dirt, okay, then somehow it's worth six figures. And I'm like, okay, coach, well, if you have a $20,000 mobile home that's worth 15, and let's say you have it on some property that, I don't know, might be worth 10, maybe worth 10, coach. I don't know, maybe that might get you up to $60,000 or $70,000 worth of value, coach. That does not push you into six figures, especially not out there in rural Mississippi, coach. All right, coach. All right, but you can fantasize, you can dream about it, coach. Okay, you can tell those stories to Megan and try to convince Megan that you made some good choices along the way, Megan. All right. Try to distract Megan from the fact that you never built that house that you promised her years ago. Okay, you promised back when you had that camper, that $200 camper, even when you had that fifth wheel. Okay, you promised Megan that you were going to build a house. Okay, you're going to what they call a stick house. Okay, you promised that you're going to build that house, coach. Someday soon, someday never, coach. But if you try to remind her from time to time that this little $15,000 trailer mobile home, this little $15,000 single wide is actually worth $150,000, then that might distract Megan from the fact that for years you promised things to Megan, and of course those promises have gone unfulfilled, coach, unfulfilled. Okay, and so you leave this little plot of land next to the mobile home empty as a constant reminder, as a constant teaser for Megan that Megan, Megan, someday, Megan, okay, someday I'm going to build you that house, Megan. But the rest of us, all we see is bald spots, grass, and weeds, coach. Nothing more.
In front of the barn. And the reason that we put the storm shelter here and not down by our mobile home by Emma is because our plan is to build a house out in this section right here. So we left this big old section here open so that we can build a house one day if we decide to. But if not, like I say, because we've kicked around ideas about building a house down here. And y'all know we just bought that other property, and we kicked around ideas about moving Emma once we build a house down here to our other property that we bought, and having it as a rental, or even bringing the value of that property up and selling it. But who knows, like I say, because mobile homes don't hold value in themselves, but when you put them on a piece of dirt, that dirt holds the value, and it brings the value of the mobile home to make it to where it didn't depreciate as much. Like I said, I don't know if you all are familiar with real estate and depreciating assets and things like that, but they consider a mobile home to be a depreciating asset. And like I say, but when you have a mobile home on dirt that you own, it kind of doesn't depreciate as much. And so this mobile home in a mobile home lot would probably only be worth $20,000, $15,000. But on this dirt here, that mobile home is worth six figures, $150,000, because the dirt, goes along with it. So if you buy the mobile home, you buy the dirt, so $150,000. But if you buy the mobile home by itself, if it's on a mobile home lot, then it's not worth as much, if that makes any sense. So
Tim talks about this story that he's convinced Megan of, whereby the dirt, although the mobile home is depreciating, the dirt underneath the mobile home brings the value up. I'm like, okay, coach, you can tell it to Megan. Okay, you can tell it to some of your ready Tim writers. Okay, but for the rest of us, coach, okay, that dirt is not bringing that sardine single wide up anywhere, coach. All right, it's not actually the dirt that brings the value up, it's the location. All right, and you're located in rural Mississippi. All right, so I don't care how much dirt you put under that trailer. I don't care how much dirt you put under it, coach. The value is what it is. They may attach a little bit to it for the land. They may attach a little bit to it. Okay, whatever you paid for that land, plus whatever that mobile home is going to be worth, that's how much you're going to be able to get out of it, coach. Excuse me. But you talked about the fact that you're not sure what you guys are going to do in the future. You may build that house that you promised to Megan. You may buy other property and build a house on it. We're not sure. But now, one thing is for sure, coach. Okay, you talk about this amazing porch that you have coming, coach. You can talk about the dirt bringing up the value of the mobile home, of the single wide, coach. But there's no way in the world that you can quantify. There's no way in the world that you can substantiate the fact that that porch will have anything to do with the value of that trailer, of that mobile home, coach. All right. It will get you closer to being a double wide. All right. And so if at some point you do convert that porch into being an enclosed porch, you convert it into being a true living space, a livable space, then maybe you will convert that single wide into being a double wide in theory, and then thereby increasing the value of Emma/Hema. Okay, coach. Okay, but don't tell us about the dirt underneath it. All right. You can sell the dirt to Megan. You can sell the pipe dreams to Megan. Okay. But not all of us are Megan. And by all of us, I mean none of us, coach. There's only one Megan.
The dirt underneath the mobile home brings the value back up, but the mobile home itself depreciates and goes down. But anyway, so that's a thought that we had about our mobile home. Like I said, we're still gonna build our porch and everything, like I say, but you know, within the next 5 or 6 years, we'll know what we're gonna do. If we're gonna build a house down here, or we're gonna buy more land and build a house, or buy land with a house on it already. So that's kind of in the plan. But yeah, storm shelter.
All right, near the end of the video, Tim gives us all a lesson in animal cruelty. Gives us and the boys an apparent lesson in animal cruelty. I guess somehow they got a hold of a snapping turtle, and Tim is showing the boys how to be unkind to animals, how to be unkind to nature. All right, whatever happened to respect for nature? Whatever happened to all of God's creatures? All right, you guys shop at the grocery store. What use could you possibly have for this snapping turtle? But apparently they came across a snapping turtle, and I thought that snapping turtles were a protected species. I thought they were protected. All right, he's got the boys bashing the turtle in the head with their branches and trying to get the turtle to snap at their branches and what have you. And I'm like, okay, coach, I guess you're walking the boys through it early. We talk about dominion, huh? Okay. But there's a difference between dominion and abuse, coach. All right. All right. Why do you have to show these boys how to exert dominion slash punishment slash cruelty? Dominion slash punishment slash cruelty on this snapping turtle, coach? Whatever happened to live and let live, as your heavy Tim followers like to say. Okay? That's what you guys say, right? Whatever happened to live and let live. That turtle wasn't bothering anybody, all right? But you got your boys bashing it, okay? And I'm guessing that eventually it's going to wind up on the table, on the dinner table. Well, I guess you don't really have a dinner table, okay? But eventually it's going to wind up on Tim's plate, I guess. It's going to wind up on his plate in his lap. But okay, coach. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk upside the head.
Stop, though. Don't climb out of this up for the video. I would never believe snapping turtle climb out of the book. Look at him. He almost out of there. I love bite stick. I just stick it in there.
No, get that.
Just stick it. Just move it. He don't want to bite it right now.
Just start whacking upside the head.
He's just trying to get away. Yeah.
Start whacking. Whoa. It's getting bored. Probably.
Yeah, he ain't really trying to snap it right now. There you go. Look how fast he can go. But our ducks wouldn't stay on the pond. Like I said, we might have to get them a duck coop and put it down here so they'll stay down here. But we've also tried dyeing the pond. That hadn't worked. And this year we actually bought a little tool that you use, like once it gets, but
I can't take anymore. That's enough of the lesson, the weed whacking lesson. That's enough of the forced zero-turn footage, the forced zero-turn usage. Enough of you explaining to your woeful Tim worshipers how real estate appreciation works, even in the sight of depreciation, even in the company of depreciation. You talk to them about how appreciation works. Hopefully they were taking notes on that, coach. But I can't take no more. As for me, I can't take no more. That's it for my reaction to that recent IAG Farms video where you talk about finally, or the fact that you should have purchased that zero turn years in advance. You should have purchased it. Of course, we would say that you should have built that house for Megan years ago. All right. Okay, but instead you decided to dedicate $30,000 worth of family financing, okay, whatever type of loans you took out aside of your sponsorship. But that's it for my reaction to that video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Major shout out to my subscribers. Thank you for showing me that grand love as we march toward the milestone of 10K subscribers. Thank you for that love. I appreciate it. For those viewers that have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing so that we can continue to shine that light. Until next time.